I mean, it's like kind of cool to be a writer who just is.
There's so much romantic about that, being like an artist who's
driving
like
a Porsche,
depressed and drunk and all that stuff.
Got your kid, your ex-wife. And
it's a fun place to visit.
Yeah,
you don't want to live there.
Now that I've like kind of like stopped drinking so much and try and be a little healthier, sometimes I feel like such a poser. I'm like, you're such a loser.
No, you don't forget how these people actually are depressed. My friend Nick Griffin has a great joke where they say, they say to live every day like it's your last. So I've been crying a lot lately. It's a great joke. But I mean, I think about that. Like, we do romanticize misery. For some reason, like, it's more poignant when someone's miserable. But then I've heard people make the point, like, I love Leonard Cohen, and I heard him say, like, they were like, do you need to be depressed to create great music? And he's like, no, the depression was like killing me. I made this in spite of the depression.
Yes. People say that about comedy too, right? Like, if I stop drinking, I'm not going to be funny. And it's like, I think you'll probably be smarter and better.
There's got to be one, though, who stopped drinking and he was like, fuck. Like an accountant now? This sucks. There's got to be one. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I heard, like, it's a myth.
Also, nobody likes the, like, rise and grind, guys. Today's going to be, like, 100%. Like, nobody likes that fucking guy.
Positivity can be...
so corny.
It can be corny, and it can feel tone deaf, too. Like,
yeah.
You want to read the room, and no one wants to hear a comic who's just winning. It's boring.
We're
not supposed to be winners.
I do think... there is something to when you get rich and famous as a comic. There's more of that's more dicey, I would think, than I stopped drinking and partying.
That's a great point.
You are just funnier and have better stories, and you're easier to root for and all that when you are scraping by and you're sleeping on couches and you're living the everyday blue collar. Like, you just identify with people can relate to you more.
That is true, but. The movie Back to School, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time, they originally wrote him as a poor guy, and then they were like, it would be really funny if he could just buy whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
So
there is humor in that, for sure.
There is humor in that, too.
Yeah. But you just can't be, you have to be like, you start throwing your wealth around in a way that, like, it's like, oh, well, we didn't, we don't like that.
The job of the comic is to relate to their audience.
Right.
So, when you lose that, I think, I mean, it's to make them laugh, but also you got to relate to them. So, I think once you become... I mean, look, my new special is called "You've Changed."
Yeah.
Like, you want to.
Well, that's the other thing too. You have to be honest. So it's like,
you want to keep a. You want friends who will call you out when you're being an asshole. Too. I can always tell when a comic doesn't have enough comic friends by their posts, by their behavior. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, you need a friend to be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
And you're right about, I think, getting too rich, because like. Yeah, we didn't get into this thinking we'd succeed.
Right.
So I think when some people start to blow up, they're like, oh, shit, I'm going to do... And also, you kind of get to become the asshole you always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Which it's harder to be that asshole when you have nothing.
Yep.
But when you have access...
That's what Portnoy always said, because people were like, you've changed, man. You used to be like the everyman, and now you're like this rich asshole. He was like, no. I was always that guy. I just didn't have the money to act like that. Now I have the money, so I could just be my regular self. I was like, you really are an asshole. But the only thing worse than somebody who just like flosses and flaunts their wealth is the guy who has wealth and is like lying about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, don't try to play that card. I know,
you gotta be honest.
I remember Tom Segura being like, look around, I sold out this place. Like, obviously things are going pretty good,
Yeah.
So let's not pretend.
I think, was it Richard Pryor said that like you can be as funny as honest as you are honest or something like that? And I think that's true until it's like, well, I have to get a private jet here. Well, fuck off, dude.
Yeah, you don't need... being honest doesn't mean you need to tell us everything.
Yeah.
Some things can stay secret.
You're right. It's like something about a private jet. It's hard to write jokes in a private jet.
Yeah.
I mean, like tour bus, at least it's expensive. That's a big expense, but at least it's a kind of a grungy style of living.
Yeah.
So you're sleeping in bunks. It does feel like adult summer camp a little bit.
Yeah.
I always say New York City does help you, because even if you're making a lot of money, you still
You're
live
with
like
the
kind of a
commoners.
fucking animal.
Yeah.
I mean, even rich people live like the same way poor people live here.
Yeah.
I remember Bloomberg would ride the subway.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This guy's a billionaire, you know. But I mean,
a big billionaire, not even just one.
A lot of that was
multi.
A lot of that was for show, but I mean, it is
still,
actually the easiest way to get around.
Yeah.
I don't care how rich you are. When you're like, I got to get across town in 45 minutes, and if I get in a car, it's gonna be 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm getting on the L or whatever. But we were in Austin, and we met at Tom and Bert's vodka launch, and so they roll with like literally billionaires. And this guy was talking about his penthouse that he got on like 28th and 3rd, and I was like, I lived on 28th and 3rd like growing up, Like you probably have like $100 million piece of property, and we walk out and like bump into each other. You know what I mean? And I used to have homeless people sitting in my fucking
Well, those homeless people looking at you like, holy shit, this guy just walked out of his home. This guy's amazing. But no, I know what you mean.
It's crazy.
But that's kind of what I think keeps New Yorkers like cohesive, is that like there is a togetherness no matter what. Like we are all in it. We're all in line at the coffee shop together. We're all, getting our we're all in CVS together.
Yeah, you really do still have those interactions. Like I would imagine if you make it in LA, you move to a certain neighborhood and you're in like a cul-de-sac and you
also you're
don't
in
go
your
anywhere.
car in a lot of other places like LA. You're like, look, I know some people that probably like that style because you get to kind of like be alone with your thoughts. But like traffic just stresses me out.
Yeah,
I also can't drive, as you guys know. But
I know I still want to like see it. I want to like set up a driving.
Norman wants to do
challenge.
A video where he teaches me to drive.
Yeah, that would be great.
I was like,
because there's like, you're not a good driver and like I can't drive. It's the same thing as like I can't swim and it's like I will drown if I get in the water. You know what I mean? Like which one is it?
Can you swim?
Yes,
I can swim too.
I got a pool this weekend.
Cool.
3 minutes. It had no shallow end. 3 minutes. Got out. Gas.
Yeah.
I was in it. I jumped in, and then I was like treading water.
It's the best feeling.
And I was like, "Hey, where's the shallow end?" They're like, there isn't one.
What kind of pool doesn't have any shallow end?
I don't know.
I still think what Diana Naya did is one of the most impressive athletic.
Insane.
Even though Cubans do it.
What is that?
She swam from
Cuba to Florida, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it?
Took
61
her
miles?
a few tries, but like she did it. I think she also swam the English Channel or something like
I was
that.
gonna say I knew someone swam.
She's
that.
done some crazy shit, and she was like 61 when she did. Was it? Wait, maybe I'm wrong with the miles. I don't know the actual because that doesn't sound right.
And that's like shark infested waters and all sorts of shit.
Dude, that would suck so much.
The ocean is kind of like the only thing that really scares me.
Really?
I'm not scared of heights.
Mr. Tough Guy.
I've gone skydiving. Like all that stuff is fine with me. But if I've tried to scuba twice, and both times like the second I got fully submerged, I like started having a panic attack.
I don't like the idea of skydiving.
The thing with skydiving that's fun, and this might turn you off to it even more, is like if something goes wrong, I just die. I'm fine with that. Like,
great sales pitch. That's it.
Like I'm not gonna. There's not some medical emergency where I'm gonna like be a vegetable or something.
There might be some way where like you know the parachute kind of works and then like whips off, so you make it down like to 100 feet and then you just break a hip and a face.
That's I've convinced myself because I'm actually skydiving again next month. I've convinced myself that that's impossible. I think it's clearly
probably
very possible, but like I've just been like, look, if it goes wrong, I just die.
I don't like the idea of almost killing myself.
Yeah, I mean
the same reason I don't do autoerotic asphyxiation. I don't like the idea of flirting with death. I don't.
Do you think there are guys who try that and they go, nah, wasn't for me?
Autoerotic asphyxiation?
I feel like if you do it, you know you're going to be into it.
I don't think
there's
one
many
of those
guys who are like
David Carradine. He was one of those guys. As he was dying. Wrong choice.